Hi everybody, it's Michelle with Garden Jargon, and I'm in my kitchen again for like the third video today, but I wanted to share with you how I make kale chips. I could eat my weight in kale chips. I love kale. It's a great source of goodness in your body, and it's super cheap at the store when you can't grow it, and it's easy to grow in a garden when you're able to grow it. So since I was in the process of a move, when I got to this property, I was not able to grow kale, but I will next year. But if you don't know what kale looks like, it looks like this. This is the kale I get at the grocery store. This is called the blue curly kale, maybe. This one's a little limp because I left him on the counter because I wanted to show him to you before I tore it apart. But I cleaned it and I dried it. It has to be completely dry when you make kale chips. And then you just basically rip it up into big pieces and throw it in a bowl. One's too little. Kale chips, when you make them, they shrink in size, about half the size of what they are on the tray when you put them on the tray. So consider that if you put this on a tray, it's going to be an itty bitty tiny piece when you pull it out of the oven or the dehydrator when you're finished. So what I did is I have got this whole bowl into big torn up pieces of kale. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dress it with olive oil. Where's that at? Where's my oil? Here it is. Right here. Like that. And then I'm going to massage the oil into the kale. Now, I make kale chips in the dehydrator, and then I also make them in the oven. And I'm going to have so many chips here that I'm going to have to use both. The dehydrator, I have a 5-tray dehydrator that I got at Goodwill for like $3. I love Goodwill. It's a super cheapo one. It doesn't have a thermostat on it. It doesn't have a timer, but I've experimented a couple times with the dehydrator, and it takes about 3 hours. So I'll show you the kale chips that I just made over the last 3 hours in the dehydrator. But I got all these pieces massaged with the oil, and you'll know that it's pretty well mixed when everything looks glossy in the bowl. And I'll show you. Just like that. See how shiny everything looks? So then I have my trays here for my dehydrator. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay them out on the tray, but I'm going to make sure that there is space in between each kale chip. The reason you don't want to just throw them on the tray like this and spread them out is because if they're folded, what's going to happen is they'll almost kind of steam themselves instead of getting crispy. And I've made the mistake and done it both ways. So I like to give them some love and spread them out. My hands are all oily. And don't crowd your pan. It's a pain in the butt to not crowd the pan because you want to make as many as possible, because once you get these in your mouth and taste how delicious and crunchy they are and how good they are for you, you will be addicted just like I am. I should go to Kale Chip Anonymous. I put them all out on the tray like that. So everything is pretty well spaced apart. I will show you, give you a closer peek. Oh, that's a big one. That's probably a little too close. Let's spread them out here. So this is the first tray. And see, that's how far I have them spaced out. So that's just tray number 1. And then I'll come back when I get to tray number 5. Okay, we're back. So what I did was I stacked them all in the dehydrator trays, just like this, nice and spaced apart. You can see I left a lot of space. And then I seasoned them. So my favorite way of seasoning, and I've kind of only used this way, and I'm going to experiment a little bit more with some sauces and stuff because I am using the dehydrator. You can actually put a sauce on these and dehydrate them, and then the sauce will dehydrate on top of the chips, and I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. But I don't have cashews, and I want to grind up some cashews, but I will post that when I make it because I want to share with you that experience. But what I use is the no salt Mrs. Dash, and I tend to find that the kernels in here are kind of big, so I just grind it up in my coffee grinder and put it in a salt shaker like this to where it's a fine powder, and then I sprinkle it over the top. And I've already seasoned all the trays, and this has a really strong pepper flavor once you grind it up. So I do a light dusting over the top, and then there's no salt in it, but I also like garlic flavor, which is in adobo, so I lightly season with the adobo also, and it's very salty, so be very careful. Also, when I seasoned every one of these trays, I held them over the sink to season them and didn't season right on top of each other's tray because I don't want the seasoning to fall through and make these super strong as I did the ones on top. I did this tray that way. And then I had a couple extras, so I put them on a tray to put them in the oven, which I'm going to do these in the oven at 200 degrees and just keep my eye on them. I'll do it from 20 minutes and then I'll double check. And then you just you're basically dehydrating them in the oven, just like if you're doing it in a dehydrator. So I'm going to season these a little different. I'm going to use the Mrs. Dash again, and I'll sprinkle right over the top of each one of these leaves. And then I like to use just Parmesan cheese right out of the can and sprinkle that a little bit. I try to get it just on the leaves because it does burn pretty easy. But with the oven being at 200, it doesn't burn that much, but it does give it a nice cheesy flavor. Some people use nutritional yeast, and that kind of gives the nuttier flavor also. So what I'm going to do is put these in the oven for about 20 minutes and then check on them. And then after that, like every 10 minutes, I'll keep checking them until they're nice and crisp. I'm going to put these 5 trays in the dehydrator. I did not put cheese on these, but I might put cheese on one tray because I don't know what it would actually taste like in the dehydrator with the cheese. So I will try one tray with that. But this is the set of chips that I made earlier today. They're in here. This was 5 trays in the dehydrator, just like I did below here. And I got these crispy chips, just like this. So yummy. I'll eat them all, so I'm just going to stop there. I have to let these cool completely before I put them in an airtight container or a Ziploc baggie, because if there's any heat temperature-wise at all, and then you put them in a baggie, it'll steam it up and they'll all go soft, and that would suck. Not that you can't throw them on a tray and pop them in the oven for a minute and dehydrate them out again. But that's how I make kale chips, guys, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any special recipes how you make your kale chips, or if you've seen any recipes in the past, please share in the comments below so that I can try those recipes. But I will make some more in the future with some sauces, like a barbecue and a ranch flavor. And once I experiment and get it down enough to share with you, I will definitely do that. So please like and subscribe so that you get the notification. Hit the notification bell so you get the next video notification when I post a new one. I hope to see you in the next video. I thank you so much for watching and supporting my channel. I wish you the best in your gardening and adventures. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.